Hi there, welcome back. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you might remember this guy. This is the Grundig Satellite 2100. This was the first of the satellite series I've done. I've now done 3. This was an incredibly good learning experience. I did a very big series on it. I think it was, I can't remember, 6 videos or something like that with full alignment and everything else. And I documented as I discovered it. Now, since you can never get enough of a good thing, look what I received. Hey, have I been a good boy or what? Brilliant. This is the black version. As you can see, a few differences. But technically and functionally, I believe it's exactly the same as the other one. This should be fun. This radio came all the way from London, from the UK. It's a subscriber who contacted me and asked me if I would do a full check on it. And I don't normally do this, but I can't resist. I learned an incredible amount when I did the restoration of this one, and I like the idea of being able to use the knowledge that I gained from that on another one. Otherwise, you just learn once, forget about it. Next time you'll have to start again. And I really did basically, or have to start again, but fortunately I've got all my videos to refer to. I've got all my documentation, all the service manuals from previous restoration, and I've got the videos. The way I did those videos was as a true restoration log. Now, the difference between a log and a entertainment series is that the log is really something that I'm going to use myself. I can go back, refer to it, and make my life easier when I do this one. And I have no idea what the situation is. He did tell me that it's working on FM. I think it's working on medium wave and long wave. He mentioned there's problems with the upper frequencies. I've not switched it on. I'm not going to switch it on just yet because I noticed that the power cord has been cut. So there's no plug on here. And that means one of a few things. Either he cut it off because he didn't want me to have to bother with removing a British plug and putting one of mine, or there's a problem there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test it before we start, and I'm going to test it with limited current from the DC power supply, and we'll see what we get, and then take it from there. Now, I expect this to be a more fluid restoration project, not so much all the detail, because as I said, as long as nothing changes from that previous restoration series, I'm not going to repeat everything. I'll probably refer to certain video numbers on the series, the stuff that I refer to, and I'll let you know. But we'll see how it goes. That's how these videos usually happen. I don't really have much of a script. I have no script. So whatever comes, comes. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, we're ready for a power-up test. I've connected the power supply, set it to 9 volts, 100 milliamp current limit. It is on. It's going to the battery connector, the back. I've selected the battery versus the main switch, the back as well. I've got FM selected. Let's give it a bit of antenna. The antenna is in good shape. That's good news. And let's hit it. Okay. 40 milliamps. That sounds good, but I don't hear anything. Oh, there's a little bit of something. Oh, that's pretty poor. The volume is very, very low. That's not really good. Let's try long wave. Medium wave. What are we tuning up here? It's trying to receive, but it's getting something, but again, without the mini whip. The bandwidth is working. Narrow, broad. Treble is working, bass is working, volume is working, okay. Shortwave 1. I'm not too worried about reception, I just want to see if they work. Shortwave 2. 3 to 10. Wrong one. The dial is working, or the tuning is working. Let's try and change that. There's something wrong in here. This thing is bent. That seems to be twisted and stuck. Oh, that's not a good sign. Okay, I'm not going to mess with that till I open up and see what's wrong with it. So we've got a serious problem with the drum. It seems to have almost seems to have come off that end. And we're hearing nothing. Well, we're hearing something. Never mind. Okay, what have we got? We've got shortwave. 1 and 2 seem to be working and they're tunable. The dial is moving as well. Medium wave and long wave, same story. Reception's poor because I've got no good antenna. On the rod here for medium wave and long wave, I don't expect much. I use the mini whip for that. On FM, we've got FM, but very weak reception-wise. And these guys here are a bit of a mess. So what I'm going to do next is open this up and see what we're facing. And what we're facing is not good. Look at this. This is exactly how I found it when I took the top off. The back cover just comes off with 1, 2, 3 screws. They're longish. And then another 4 down here, but one of them is missing. So that had flown off. That's not a problem. The most important one is this thing has come off. Oh, here's another one. Oh, and here's another one. They're all come off. They've all clipped off. And these guys are, one of these at least, seems to have broken off. Is it broken or just desoldered? This is what this looks like at the back. You've got a oscillator section, an intermediate section, and the front end RF for each of those bands. And this thing, I think they just clip on there, so it shouldn't be too serious. Yeah, they just clip on there. I think it probably looks worse than it is, because if I'm not mistaken, if I do that, I think this thing just clips into there. There are like springy connections on that end. It's on both ends actually. So I've got to align this and then, whoops. Yes, I think that's in. I wonder if this will turn without, you see all these guys are loose. That's the problem. See, that one's loose. It's now in place. That's in place. That one's now in place. Okay, the remaining ones are in place, and this thing is not broken. Whoa! Jose, that's the owner. Hallelujah, we are lucky. For some reason, I think what happened is one of these guys came loose. Someone's been in here because there's a screw missing over there. So maybe, I don't know, maybe someone tried to fix this, but one of these came loose and then it just tangles up and puts force on everything. But it looks like we're in business. This is an amazing mechanism. It's very, very well built. The quality on this thing is amazing. Look at that. Fascinating. Fascinating. Anyway, let me carry on. I'm just about ready to get this out of the casing, and the way I did that was remove these 2 screws at the top. That whole cover comes off. Remove the knobs at the front, all of them. Remove the antenna. The antenna, you've got to disconnect this antenna wire, and then you remove 2 or loosen 2 screws there, and it just comes out the bottom. And then what else is there? There's 1 there, 1 screw, 2 screws, 3 screws. These are underneath inside the battery compartment. You remove those and you pull this out. Now, unfortunately, this is what I found falling out of there when I took the back off. So something is broken in there. I'm not sure what it is yet, but we'll find out. Let's see if we can just get this out without damage. Can't damage it. Oh, and you've got to remove that selector, the drum selector, by just loosening a screw on the inside here, and it comes out. Okay. Again, I've got more details on the first series that I did on this. Let's see if I can get this out of here. Now, we've still got the speaker in there somewhere, so we can't just pull it. We've got to disconnect the speaker as well. This wire is getting in the way. I'm going to replace this wire because it's pinched over there. So the best way to deal with this wire, and also one more thing, I'm not going to be using mains right till the end because I don't want to get zapped unnecessarily. So this wire can go. I've got substitute wire exactly like this. So I'll be putting some new one in. And now I can remove this from the casing. If we look at the front here, can we see that? Sort of. There are 4 wires going to speakers over here. And I think they clip on. Oh, they don't. 2 of these. And there's a yellow and white, or yellow and black. So I'm going to have to desolder them. That won't be too easy, will it? I can't remember how I did it on the other one. I'll figure it out. And it's out. I took a photograph of the wires going to the speaker before I desoldered them, so I don't get them mixed up later. But there are 4 wires because that speaker's got a high frequency tweeter inside there. And now we can see the whole thing. Now, I'm now starting to look for where this thing came from. That kind of worries me. But let's have a closer look at this. So what have we got here? We've got the mains coming in there. Cut the wire off. It just goes into there. And there's the voltage selector. It goes into the transformer. That's all fine and good. There's a mains fuse on there. Comes out of the transformer. And I presume that's your AC volts going off to the rectifier section on that side. But we won't worry about that. We've got the drum tuner over here, which actually I can control it. I just put this in temporarily. I'll be needing it when I start testing it. I've got the antenna inputs here. What else have I got? I think this is the 2 megahertz IF strip. FM block is this one here, I believe. Yeah. And I'm looking for any damage because this is the antenna connector that I've got to remember. This is now going to work as the internal antenna connector. In fact, what I can do is, because I'm not going to be using it, I'm going to be using, I normally use, when I use the mini whip, I connect it into a car antenna thing in here, which is considered an external antenna. And you select that with one of these switches. It's just that I've got one of those plugs and it makes it easier to work with. So that gets taped in there. And let's have a look. This thing's looking pretty clean. There's some oily residue over here. I'm not sure what that is. I don't see any damage. I don't see anybody having been in here, any signs of anybody having been in here, which is a good thing, believe me. This is the amplifier and power supply board, or power rectifier board. Preamp section. You've got your tone controls and your volume control over here. Everything's looking pretty neat. There's a bit of dust, but nothing serious, nothing at all really. All the dial cords are in place, which is great. I'm just wondering where the hell that thing broke from. It fell off, this thing fell off like here. I wonder if it's from the cabinet. Let's have a look. That's one hefty speaker over there. Brilliant speaker, that. But now I need to find out where this thing came from, and it would probably be from here somewhere. It's a standoff of sorts. I can't find it right now, but I will find it, I'm sure. When I least expect it, I'll figure out where this is from. So we have our radio. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a connector over here. Put one of these connectors over here so that I can very quickly connect an external speaker. This is the high frequency one, which I'm going to just protect with some tape. not shorting it, just keeping them separate, just so we don't short it to the chassis anywhere. And I'm going to start figuring out what's wrong with the amplifier board, because it is a little bit too low in volume. The other thing I want to do is I'm going to make life easier for me by creating a DC input here, probably from the battery connectors. Battery connectors are down here. So what I'm probably going to do is just solder a DC socket so that I can just play with this all the way through without having to mess around with AC voltages for now. So as usual, I'll take it one step at a time. I'll tackle the power rectification section over here. So the power supply section, the audio amplifier and preamplifier stage. I'll be able to then test that by inputting a signal, audio signal into here. This is a phono input or external line input. I can select it at the top there. We'll make sure that the power amplifier is working fine, that voltages are getting everywhere, and then we can focus on the radio. The way to do this is tackle it one step at a time. These things are actually quite simple if you focus on small pieces at a time. That's usually the way to go about it. Let me go about it. Before I start messing with the power amplifier, I wanted to test what I've got first. So what I've done is I've fed a signal. It's about 800 Hertz going into the phono input at the back. I've got the external speaker connected to my dummy load where I can monitor it with a scope. And I want to see when it starts to clip. So I've selected the tape input here, or the external input here. And I can control the volume over here. And let's have a look at the scope and see when it starts to clip. So I'm going to up the volume now. I've got it on dummy load so we don't have to listen to it. Oh, there we go already. I'm reading 1.86 volts at the bottom there. Actually, 1.8 volts. That is far too low. It's clipping far too low. And the reason I know that is because I tried it on that one, and that was going up to about 3.8 volts, I think it was, RMS. So this one is definitely clipping too early. So we've definitely got some problems with this power amp section. So what I'm going to do now is remove it and see what we can do here. If I remember correctly, all I had to do was remove 1, 2, 3, 4 screws over here, desolder the battery connections at the bottom, and I think this thing sort of fell out or came out like that. I'll have to check. There's some more at the back here. I'll have to just check, I can't remember, but it'll come out quite easily, I'm sure. Let me get that done. And the board is loose. I had to remove some screws here, some on the back. You get a bit, you got to just see what needs to be removed. There are 3 solder tags at the bottom here that need to be disconnected. And here's the board. And we've got quite a few electrolytics on here, as is to be expected. This is, after all, the power supply board and the amplifier board. So I'm going to get cracking. I'm going to replace all the electrolytics, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, less than a dozen electrolytics over here. I'll look for tantalums. I'm not sure if they have any. I will check some of the solder connections between this vertical board and the, where the 2 boards meet. They soldered them together. Sometimes those tend to crack. Clean the switch, clean the pots. And we'll try it again and see if we've got the level back. The output transistors, I think, are fine. I'll have to check the biasing of them. This thing allows you to set the idle current, so perhaps we'll do that as well. But I'll get cracking, replace the capacitors, come back and see what happens. Well, this board is done. Okay, we're set. We're going to do the test again. Signal generator on. The power is connected. Tape input. Why is nothing working? Oh, maybe it's the switch. I think it's the switch. Yeah. Okay. Whoa. Well, we're getting something. What exactly are we getting? Ah, beautiful. It's a 2.7, 2.75. That's what we want. Okay, looking good. I've cleaned the pots as well. This is the treble and the bass, but most importantly, we've got our amplitude back, 2.7. That's more or less what I got with the other one here. Can't remember exactly, I should have made a note of it, but it's pretty close. Now, all I did was I replaced capacitors. These capacitors were, let me switch that off for now. They were all in pretty bad shape. Not surprising. If I were to hazard a guess, I'd say it was probably the output coupling cap that was worse. I wouldn't think it would be the regulator stuff, or rather the filtering stuff, because this was DC coming in anyway. I was only using a bench power supply, so it would be on the audio section or audio functions that the effect would have been most noticeable. But it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go and check each capacitor. I'm not interested. All I'm interested in is that we now have this board working pretty well. I just need to check some of the solder joints, make sure that there are no joints that will become cold joints. Obviously there's nothing there at the moment, but I just want to make sure of that, and then I can put this back and we have the power supply and audio amp section done. So I've got my work cut out for me. It's coming on pretty well. Some of these mishaps here really scared the hell out of me when I first saw it, but it seems that it's not that big a problem. And I'm going to finish this up, carry on to the next sections, and report back to you on the next video. So once again, hope you've enjoyed that. And if you have, click like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. And if you want to support the channel directly, you can do so on Patreon. Once again, thanks for watching. Bye for now, and stay safe.